Welcome. Frequently Asked Questions podcast, Fuzzy and Quincy. Thank you for being here. Please subscribe. Please join. Please share. FAQ Podcast, where you're on YouTube. FAQ Podcast, anytime audio. And guess what? You can also reach out to us, advertise.
Tell them how to get at us directly.
fuzzyandq@gmail.com. We made it very easy for you.
Yeah.
Speaking of making it very easy for you, this guy makes music easy.
Now he makes some baby making music easy.
Yes. What do we say? New Orleans.
Nolans.
Nolans. Yo, you know, I've never been.
No Nolans?
I mean, no.
Yeah, we don't.
Orleans?
Yeah, New Orleans.
New Orleans.
New Orleans.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's a church boy. I like to say church.
PK.
He's a church boy.
PK, preacher's kid.
Grammy nominated. I mean, you got Stevie Wonder loves him. Fuzzy loves him. Jermaine Dolly. I got to tell you that you're my intro.
Oh, Dolly's my guy.
That's my guy.
Yeah.
From New Orleans, first son. We have PJ Morton in the building. Let's get up with PJ Morton.
Yes. Thank y'all for having me, man.
Thank you for being here.
Oh man, I'm honored to be here.
We have a real celebrity in the building, man.
Fuzzy's my guy, you know. And I've been watching you guys. Well, I mostly listen.
Yeah.
But you know, I catch some of the clips too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
you
listen
tapped in
while I run. Yeah, I know.
Well,
FAQ. Yeah, for sure.
Man. See, and he said FAQ. That's how you know people. People say when people say it's not fact. When people say fact, that means I know you don't.
You're not tapped in.
It's FAQ.
That bothers you. It's a pet peeve.
It really bothers me. Like,
but you know, usually when people frequently ask questions, it's to abbreviate fact. They say fact.
No.
But
when
with Fuzzy and Q,
when you say, I love the podcast so much. I love what you guys are doing.
You got to know how you hear what the podcast sounds, how you say the podcast.
Hear it. Yeah, because we always say FAQ.
It is a dead giveaway. It's like, tell me you don't listen to the podcast without telling me.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, I love PJ Morton.
PJ Morton. I was
like, what?
JP Morgan, like some people do.
Yeah. So
you get that.
A lot.
Wow.
Where do we start with you? Let's start like New Orleans. I mean, because I know Fuzz, you guys have a personal relationship. I'm honored, that you stopped by.
Yeah.
My dad shares clips of you from you to me.
Yeah, Q's dad is a real music head.
So
that's what's
he's
up.
like, man, you hear this PJ Morton? I'm like, yeah, Dad.
Yeah,
he's 73 years old. You
oh man,
you have range.
I love it. I love it. Range. I like to think that same thing that created their music and what they were influenced by. I'm just it's just a continuation as opposed to like a brand new thing. I'm building on something that they did. So I think sometimes the old heads can feel me, they can feel it there. I think that's what Stevie, he just appreciates it.
You gotta protect Stevie,
he's
man.
like, oh man, Stevie he's the best, man. But so I think that I do get that sometimes, even with my dad, it's like they can hear. It's like, all right, I hear us in there. I hear you sneaking us in there. Right. So it's love. That's what's up.
Speaking of your dad, that was a dope. That was a dope intro to your last album.
Oh, the gospel album.
Yeah.
We did the interludes on there. I had all of these amazing gospel artists: Kirk Franklin, Jermaine Dolly, like we said, Billy, and the Clark sisters. I mean, Mary on it. Everybody. But it just sounded like just good songs, and I wanted to because people would ask me to do a gospel record,
of course,
literally every week of my life, and I was just totally against that because I lived in my father's shadow my whole life. It was like, let me just figure out who PJ is, you know what I'm saying, and I may get back to it, but I just knew I didn't want to be a gospel artist. It was more I wanted to personally say, so to come full circle and do it, I just wanted for people to understand the journey. Like, I'm not just making a gospel record. This is like,
it's a meaning.
This is really who I am. And to understand me, you got to understand my father and how it influenced me and got me to that point.
Let's explain to anybody watching this who don't understand your relationship with your father. Who is your father in the business or even in the church community?
Yeah, in Christendom, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, well, my father first was just an amazing preacher and singer, but then some years ago, 20 plus now, started a reformation called Full Gospel, and so he became a leader of something that was really influential in church, so he became that figurehead of that. So many artists that that came under through Tasha Cobbs and William Murphy, all came through that Reformation, which was a baby when you compare it to other Reformations like Kojic, and other.
What's a Reformation? I can't sit
so
here like I know.
Reform, basically it is Christianity, but it is governed by certain, specific beliefs. So it's a little more specific. That's a Reformation.
Right. So what did you grow up? What I guess.
So when you say holiness, when you hear ladies say we couldn't wear dresses, we had to wear dresses
Pentecostal,
down.
apostolic.
Pentecostal, I didn't grow up in that. It wasn't that strict, but my father did grow up in that.
I was strict in that.
Your dad developed a whole sector?
Yeah.
Dang. Yeah. So he's like Jesus.
No.
You about to get struck by lightning.
Yeah. It's like what? But it was a big deal. It was a big deal at the time, and I mean, just not to go too much in the weeds, but basically he came from Kojic, which believed
Church of God in Christ.
Yeah, Church of God in Christ, which believed in the Holy Spirit, and when you hear the speaking in tongues, but he was pastoring a Baptist church, which
definitely
didn't necessarily
believe in that.
Well,
two different doctrines.
Not exactly, but you know what I'm saying. Didn't necessarily believe in all of that, but but he loved the foundation of Baptists, and it was about salvation, and it was about the blood. It was really, so he just kind of merged those two, and and it was really effective. Yeah.
So you grew up,
and so I was the kid. I was the first son
of that. So you grew up in church playing what, organ, piano?
Oh yeah, no, I grew up playing piano first.
Yep.
And then organ, and then the singing came, and then I started writing songs for the records. Our church was super musical, which was kind of what helped me, kind of.
Did you ever? I mean, your dad. I'm not saying remixing religion, but that's a lot of pressure on you.
100%.
Did you rebel? Were you like the kid? You know what? No, all right, y'all keep acting like I ain't my dad, dog.
Yeah.
I'm about to go over here and play this Tony.
Yeah, I'm about to be in the fifth ward.
Yeah, no, I don't think I rebelled. I think that's what made me a little different and kind of a trailblazer. The way he bridged that gap, I think for me, because everybody before me in that situation did rebel and went to a far side of R&B. Okay, all right.
Joe, you over here.
We about to go crazy. We about to go crazy. And for me, I didn't feel, especially probably because of him specifically, my father wasn't putting that on me and kind of understood me, and he was a musician, so it was different conversations.
So he supported.
Yeah, so I didn't, once he figured out that I wasn't just rebelling and then I was just trying to do something that I felt was my purpose, he became my number one cheerleader. So it was hard for them to get to me in that way.
But let's keep it to your credit that you do hang out with some like-minded individuals in the close circle of other producers, musicians, of the Nissans and the Warren Campbells. I know those names come up a lot on the FAQ, but those are my partners. But
it's true.
We all grew up in church, but we still doing things outside of the church.
Yeah, and Warren is how I know you. But Warren, I mean, for me, was a hero of mine. When I heard a Mary Mary record and I heard how them drums sounded and stuff, I was like, oh.
This is
a possibility, which was usually as far as you could go as a PK. But I'm like, nah, I don't want to stretch gospel music. I want to say more. I want to be Steve. I want to talk about love. I want to talk about life. And I really challenged that. I wrote a book called Why Can't I Sing About Love?
I never knew that.
In 2011. Yeah.
Oh, dope.
That was really this small little book. I didn't want to be an author, but I had something to say, and that really, now I'm looking at, it's crazy because I'm becoming some people's OG, which it's weird for me because I was always the youngest, no matter what. But some of them talk about that book that started me off.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
What made you write a book?
Because everybody before me had argued with the same argument, or like I said, rebelled. They never used the Bible against the people who were saying this, because the same arguments were used. You can't serve two masters, right?
Yeah.
You hear that all the time.
Yeah.
You hear reference, but the scripture is not talking about, what they're trying to reference. It's a total different thing. And it's not two masters. I mean, who's the master of love? You know, who's the master of life?
Yeah.
Who's if I write a song about the sky being blue, it's a secular song.
Still a song.
But is that not, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just started to ask questions, really direct questions. And it really started to break down that argument, so much so that my father did the foreword to the book.
Wow.
You know, I got an Aretha Franklin quote.
Wow.
I got a Al Green quote. Yeah, because I wanted to go to the
because
people
they've done it.
who went through
they
that.
did it. That's right. Okay, now I get it.
And they were friends of my father, so I reached out to them, and they gave me quotes for the book. But yeah, that's kind of been my fight this whole time. You know,
like
it's a real struggle for you.
Yeah, not anymore, but it was then.
Yeah,
like I fought that fight, and now I'm seeing, like, you know, even churches, you know, have they love night or whatever, and they invite an R&B artist, and that stuff didn't exist when I was, you know what I'm saying? So I really had to. I saw y'all had Lecrae not long ago.
Yep.
But Lecrae hit me years ago, telling me, like, I kind of showed him that at least there was another option, like, you know what I'm saying? And so.
Who's some other people like Lecrae that have reached out to you from, I guess, the younger generation? Like, thank you for that book. Thank you for walking in your
truth. It's a lot of preachers. It's a lot of preachers' kids. You know, that
because it's a lot of stress on you guys. I'm
is for we didn't make any choice in the matter. We just are born into this,
right? Because do you feel like it's so, like, especially in the black church community, especially in the bigger church, like there's a lot of stress on the kids to either follow in those footsteps or to keep that
or just
name
be perfect.
Going.
Yeah,
be perfect. Yeah, another level. I think that's why PKs get a bad rap, is because the expectation is way higher. It's like if you mess up at all, you know, you're like super wrong.
PK
you
pastors'
know?
kids. Pastors'
yeah.
kids.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm using the vernacular, but yeah, no, that was a fight. I am his only son.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure.
I'm his namesake.
Sheesh.
It was like laid out for me. You know, it was like.
Did anybody in your family thought you was gonna be a preacher at one point?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I gave them no reason to think that was gonna happen. But yeah, I think deep down people thought that, like, eventually, he'll come. You know,
my grandma used to buy me navy blue 3-piece suits. Wow. Thinking I wanted to be a preacher.
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, I just want to play with Hot Wheels.
Yeah. No, it's a thing. It's a real thing.
It's a thing.
It's a real thing.
I didn't grow up in the church.
I see. Yeah.
Like, it
was a lot of good things, though. I don't want to turn you off.
I remember going to church, and then, like, the church kids was the ones that was wilding. Like, they was wild. I'm like, I ain't wild, but they was, you know.
Yeah.
Wilding more than you.
Yeah, they was like, they was the one.
Well, I think that's part of the issue, too. Like, suppression. What does that do? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's part of it. I think that's why I didn't go crazy, like, even when I was able to, because I wasn't so suppressed. You know what I'm saying? My dad, I didn't have a curfew, because I was a musician very young.
Oh, okay.
So at 14, my dad put some trust in me, but what that did for me is the opposite of what people might think. You think you take advantage of that. But I was like, no. All right, he trusts me. All right, I'm going to do good. And then I tried a 3 in the morning one time. He's like, all right.
Hey, bro, what you doing?
Cut it out.
Come on, man. You know. And then that was all I needed. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I think that's why it is that way with kids in the church sometimes, because they so suppressed that it's like, you know what I'm saying? I gotta get it out.
So you're from New Orleans. Was the church in, like, I've never been to New Orleans. When I think of New Orleans, I think of, you know, Master P and No Limit and Cash Money and just the projects, the Calio and, you know, Uptown and all of that. So was the church in the actual city, or was it?
Oh yeah. Oh, it's right there. Yeah, by the Calio, Magnolia Project. It's crazy. My mother was a member. My grandmother was a founder of the church. My dad's from Canada. Moved to New Orleans, and became the pastor of that church. But my mom was already a member of the church because her grandmother was a founder of the church. But my mother grew up in the Magnolia Projects, right there across, like, it's blocks away from the church. So yeah, we were right there,
the thick of it.
Yeah. We were in the city. Yeah.
Man, so was that, I guess, an easier transition for you because you're from New Orleans, you're doing these things, and were your parents concerned about you being connected with Young Money? Even though you're a good kid, but it's like,
I had good friends. I kind of, you know, the music really saved me a lot. I didn't really want to. It was It was music and girls, you know. I didn't really care to be. I think they saw I was very focused, really young.
Right.
My first placement as a songwriter was I was 15 years old.
With who? With
Men Standard. Yeah, I did a song called "Don't Lose Your Candlestick." It was based on a scripture in Revelations, but that was my first placement. 15 years old.
That's
so
a big deal.
That was my first check. So I'm like, wait, I get a check for doing music?
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't tell. I was like, I was focused. You know what I'm saying? Because I had incentive, but I was gonna do it for free. I just wanted to see my name. I literally had to bring the CD cover to school because they didn't believe me. They didn't believe that I had produced this song because I'm a sophomore in high school. Yeah. And I brought it, you know, I'm like, y'all, I really did it. You know, that's how young I was.
Of course.
But they weren't really concerned with that. And like I said, our church was in the hood, but we felt protected for some reason.
Yeah.
You know?
All right. Yeah. So how did you get in the studio to do one of your first songs at 15?
Yeah. You know, I think we were kind of blessed because I had songwriters around me. Like New Orleans isn't known for songwriters, more known for performance. Yeah. But within my dad's church, they had songwriters. And that kind of changed my life because I saw that it was possible. I saw that it was a thing. Mm-hmm. And so when I got my license at 15.
You was out there driving.
Yeah. So I would take my money because I was gigging. I was a musician. I was like a proper musician playing the House of Blues on Sunday mornings, like Sunday brunch. Me and my drummer that's still with me now. We was like, I was 16. He was like 18. And I would take that money and book the studio. Now, I didn't know about placing songs on records. I didn't know about giving. I'm just like, I just want to hear what it sounds like. I have these ideas in my head. I just want to hear what they sound like. I remember this guy was $70 an hour. That song, my best friend heard, and his older brother was in ministry. He was like, you should let my brother hear this. I was like, all right. Yeah. And they was like, we want it. I was like, want it? Like, what does that mean? You know, and that set me on my path. Yeah. Yeah.
So that was your first placement. Then what happened? Like, did your father like support, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you can do this"? And...
Oh yeah, see, my dad was always. He gave me my first equipment. Like I produced that on a Yamaha keyboard, but that was him always. Like if he saw I wanted to do it, he was there to like support it, right. Like legit. Like if I say, and he would give me more than I thought. Like I'm thinking like a little keyboard, and then he give me the joint that I see on TV. I'm like,
what?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think he was just trying to show me that he believed. It worked too. But that's he was very supportive of that. And then he was supportive of me leaving home too. I think he understood the importance of like seeing other things. So I went to Morehouse. I went to Atlanta, and that's really what. That's where my career, that's where it started.
Yeah, because your network is definitely different there.
Yeah. No, it changed immediately. This is, LaFace is going.
Yeah.
Outkast is going. So Def is going crazy. And I'm in Atlanta. I'm at Morehouse.
You there,
I'm
what,
like,
98,
give
99?
Me 99. Yeah, I graduated. So 99, 2000.
You graduated in 99, 2000.
High school.
Okay,
99.
all right. So you go
to Atlanta. I got to Atlanta,
early 2000.
The second half of the year. It's going crazy. Back that thing up is the song of the year. I'm a freshman at Morehouse. It's going
crazy.
It's going bananas, right? Yeah. And I'm like, get me to the studio. That's all I wanted to do. I'm like, I'm here. Like, they making these records here because it's so crazy. New Orleans is such a music town, but it's not an industry town at all.
No.
So I had
more culture.
I had no concept of like, how do they get on my favorite albums? Like, I would write these songs for who I thought I wanted them for. I had no idea of like,
how to get them out.
How do you even do this? And as soon as I got there, my friend took me to Noontime, Jazzy
Faye's studio,
B. Cox, Donnie Scantz, Teddy Bishop, and it changed my.
So you started networking with that
night.
crew.
That's my first time I went to a studio in Atlanta.
Brian Michael Cox is there.
Yeah, Brian's working on Jagged Edge, and Donnie just got a Aaliyah song and Brandy song, and Tank was there one of my first nights I got there. I'm like, yo, what is? It was like I went to like a magic land or something, you know what I'm saying?
So you super green, they see it and they were like,
I'm green, yeah. So then I became Donnie's like keyboard guy, and that's what started that.
Well, so what was some of the placements? What were some of the placements that came out of that connection in Atlanta?
So most of that was Donnie placements. You know what I'm saying?
But you're a part of playing, of course.
Yeah, but what my first real placement came I met India Ari my sophomore year at Morehouse, and we were living in the same apartment complex, and and her first album hadn't come out yet on Motown, and so we became cool, but it was about to come out, and we started talking about Stevie Wonder.
Of course.
And she sang Ribbon in the Sky. I was like, I have those conversations with anybody because either they're going to be super funny and it's going to be real bad, or it just surprises you. And I was like, oh, she's for real. Because I was like, okay, you could sing, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And so we became cool by the time her second record came around. We were cool. I gave her a song called Interested.
So you knew India when she got snubbed at the Grammys. I remember.
Yes,
that was
the album I missed. So I was on the album that won a Grammy the next year.
Nice.
Because of all that attention from that. I guess that was a Norah Jones. It was either Norah Jones or Alicia Keys.
Alicia Keys.
Same year, India had like 8 nominations, lost them all. They were like,
oh my God.
Yeah. But no, I knew her at that point. But I was on the record right after that called Voyage to India. Yeah, and that's kind of what my first placement in mainstream outside of gospel, nothing to do with my father. It was like, okay.
On your own.
Yeah. I was
PJ Morton.
Yeah.
And did you graduate?
I graduated, yeah. I graduated in 3.5 years.
What was your major?
Marketing.
Really?
Yeah. I did it. I did 16. I did 17 hours every semester, and I did 9 hours every summer so I could finish. Me and my friend from New Orleans had a plan to try to get out in 3 years.
Come on, man.
And I got it out in 3.5. But I got that placement. I bought my house before I walked the stage. I bought my first house in Atlanta that March, and then I walked that
May, June.
That May.
Golly.
Yeah.
You've been focused.
No, Atlanta.
Man, I was just, I was having fun. It really, I guess I did have a laser kind of like maniac focus, but for me, it just felt like I see it. Let's just go. Like I didn't want to do anything else. That's what it was. It didn't feel like I was sacrificing something. I'm like,
yeah, who was coming up in Atlanta with you, at that time? Because, I mean, that whole hub of, Morehouse, Clark, and...
Yeah. So I was on a DJ Drama mixtape before he was doing, before Gangsta Grills.
Yeah.
He did like a soul mixtape and had my band Freestyle Nation on there.
Yeah, like, Drum was like...
No, Drum was that dude. Drum was that music. Yeah. He was that music guy. He figured it out. He's smart, so he was going to... Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. He just... figured out his brand, but he was the first one to support me and put me on the tape. But you had Janelle Monáe coming up at that time. India and Donnie were right before us. You had artists like Algebra in Atlanta. Atlanta was really special at that time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like, man, so you graduate 3.5 years, which it took me 5 for us. So like I'm pretty jealous.
So you stay in Atlanta for a second?
There? Yeah.
I stay in Atlanta. Well, immediately after I graduate, I get called to do an Erykah Badu tour.
Woo!
Yeah. Go out as her keyboard player, background singer. I even played guitar on that. And I felt good about that because I felt like I had turned down so much. Because I was, like I told y'all, I started young. So I could have went like, from high school, like LeBron out of high school, and all my friends taking these tours, and I'm like, I got to go to school. I was just
Were you forced to go to school? Or
No, I really wanted to do that. Okay. Like, I really wanted to, but like it got harder and harder because I'm like,
everything else is
friends doing, and I got to come back to class. I'm so happy I did that, And like immediately after I graduated, I went out with Badu, and that was like a master class in
touring.
Oh my God, that's what she does. She tours. It's not a janky tour, like paid on time, like, you know what I'm saying, orderly. Like it was just a great like master class. No drama for sure. So that was my start. And for me, I wasn't an artist yet. I had a band, Freestyle Nation, in college, my senior year, and I started writing my first album while I was out with Badu. I kind of had like writer's block, but I would write these. I think because I was just experiencing so much, I tell songwriters like sometimes we can't write is because you like just supposed to live and like be present. so you have something to write about, as opposed to like, let me experience and write at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So I just was like, let me step away and experience all of this. And I went and wrote my first album called Emotions in 2005. You know,
Emotions 2005?
2005, man.
Dang.
Yeah.
Wow.
Long time ago.
Yeah. Okay. Now it's starting to make sense.
Very focused. Like it's no scandal. It's just like no. But I'm saying like there's a way that you always hear like, oh well, my dad's a pastor, so I went this way, and we lived in New Orleans, so I was selling dope in the Calio projects. Like it's that story, but it's so refreshing to hear. There's other stories out there, you know what I mean? Because we don't really get, from mainstream media, or just like, oh, he has no trauma. Oh, never mind, I'm cool.
Yeah, it's bored.
Yeah.
No, for sure. I think it's great that we talk a lot more about trauma and like therapy and like dealing with that. But I think it is important to celebrate, not with when it doesn't have to be that exactly. Yes. It's like I hope that my kids don't have to say like it was traumatic. I hope that we get better at that, because other races, other cultures don't have to live with that thing that we're just so used to having, because it's just our norm.
Yeah,
it's so crazy. Like it wasn't until George Floyd, for me, I'm in Maroon 5, right? I'm like, I was the only black kid in my class from kindergarten to 7th grade. Well, Keith Taylor came my second grade year, and then it was us, right? But like, I didn't realize until George Floyd how much I still adjust.
Yeah.
And like just my like if I'm dealing with somebody else, you know what I mean? But that's just built in us. But that we got to understand that doesn't have to be the norm, nor should it be. Like we can be okay to live without heavy trauma. So thankfully, man, no huge scars. Like life ain't perfect. You know what I'm saying? I didn't been through it, but like I've tried to not go too crazy, what I'm saying?
You good. You clean.
Light, You light. Keeping it light, yeah.
So you said 2005 first record, right? Mm-hmm. What's happened? Because we definitely got to get to Maroon 5, but what happens before, so those times?
So like after the first record?
06 to...
Okay, so at that time, I...
Are you comfortable? Are you comfortable with being, right, putting out your first project? Like, is it jitters? Is it does it feel weird?
No, it's nothing. It's all green. It's all, I literally, it's no joke. I literally thought that if I make the music good enough, I was going to sell like 10 million records. Like, it was no doubt in my mind. And I also thought like, I'll probably play on a couple different like, type of stations. Like, I'll probably be on this pop station because, I got this guitar-driven song. That's the first time I realized, it's like
you got to
prejudice. You can't just write a folk song and expect to be, you know what I'm saying? You're an urban artist, so like even your folk song, this is what you over here, G. But I was so green that it was just like, man, I made the record I wanted to make. I mean, like I really was I enjoyed that whole process. Reality didn't hit until after that. And I really, I tried to sign to every major label there was,
Really? You had meetings and...
Oh, man. Shout out to Jonathan Leonard. That's Warren's first attorney, my attorney too. But like, we did all the showcases. We did all the meetings, you know what I mean? And nobody would bite, which is what kind of like put me, and this was before independence was cool. It was like not a vibe yet. It wasn't like, when you're on your mad, people got the rhetoric now, but it was not cool. That meant that you
wanted always a major label.
Yeah, I saw my heroes had major labels. I wanted to sign a major label, but what it forced me to do is literally learn every part of this business, and it's made it hard for me to do a major label deal,
until the Cash Money.
I did, and that was one album, and then I really figured it out after Cash Money. That's when I didn't win a Grammy until after Cash Money.
Yeah,
you know. But
what made Cash Money, like, how did that conversation start? Like, the Baby or Slim?
Yeah, so the backstory of that is, you know, people thought it was really odd, obviously, because of the brands. But Mac Main and I, the president of Young Money, went to high school together. We went to St. Aug together in New Orleans. Mm-hmm. So a buddy of ours, Izzo, always was pushing my stuff. He was like, Mac, you need to, PJ is da-da-da-da. And this is when Wayne was still in jail. And we started talking. It was the year I joined Maroon 5, and then we started talking about it. And so it was really, Mac is a music fan, like a real music fan. Yeah. And so although it was different, they were trying to do something different at that point. Like I said, Wayne was just locked up, coming out, and they wanted to show a different look to Young Money. So
wow. And you definitely was a different.
I was definitely a different R&B look, but I also was kind of just a loner over there. You know, I came in with a 6-month marketing plan, mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Using my Morehouse degree. But no, I came in there with a plan. I came in there, and I had already been touring for years. Like I said, I was forced to learn the business. So I came in there ready, which is why I even released an album. It was hard at that time for artists to get out albums on Young Money. It was Wayne, Nicki, Drake, Tyga. But then it was like 10 other artists, you know. But I went for 1 year and released an album. You know?
So how was that contract? You just like, I'll just do one album with you guys to see where it go?
No, they actually let me out. Shout out to Baby. You know, like I was right before the Wayne beef stuff started happening. And I literally was about to start working on my second album. And I was like, you know, it's not the right fit. I think they felt that too. And I ain't lost them millions of dollars. So
right.
They ain't have a reason to
you're like, it's New Orleans. It doesn't make sense.
Cool.
It was cool.
It was cool. It didn't work, you know. And Wayne is an artist. And this is a fun fact about Young Money and Cash Money. Baby has never dropped an artist in the history of the label.
Really?
No. The artist got to leave. Got to want to leave, got to ask to leave, but he's never dropped an artist in the history of the label.
When did you know it was time to go? Like, was it the
first
rollout?
Yeah, I knew when I was about to start on the second one, because when I do these albums, I go in, you know, like I lock in, and I was like, I just don't want to put all that effort to not totally have everybody on the same page.
Right. Is that 2013?
13 is when that's when it came out. Yeah.
So the single off that was the one with you and Stevie Wonder, right?
Yeah, only one. Yeah.
Only one. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite records by you. And I used to play that around Dr. Dre. He'd be like, "Man, this is slapping like that."
Oh, wow.
Like, yeah, so
Warren produced that with me too.
Yeah, Warren Campbell. We would listen to that song. We went out to the Bahamas on vacation. He was like, "Man, play that record."
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it was that was one of our moments that we used to play a lot.
Man.
And that was my first Grammy nomination as an artist too.
Yeah.
How'd you connect with Stevie Wonder? I mean, like we saying it like it's just normal.
Yeah. And on that song, he played harmonica.
He played harmonica. That's right.
He didn't sing.
He didn't sing on that one. Yeah.
Were you just trying to be humble when you like, let me at least get something from you?
No, I was just not trying to ask for too much. I'm like, yo, what can you do easy
Whatever
and
you
quick?
want to do.
You know what I'm saying? And that was for me to just kind of get in the door. But it was a long shot, actually. It was like a Hail Mary for me.
Yeah. For that.
Because I don't even know that I don't know how connected Warren was right at that time. But
with
like,
Stevie,
I reached out to Teddy Warren's
Rowley.
cousin.
Oh,
Teddy
okay.
Campbell.
Okay.
Yeah.
And because Teddy was playing drums for him.
Okay.
And I was like, Teddy, I know this is crazy, but like, how do you think I could get Stevie on a record? Like, you know? And he's like, man, I don't know. You know, because at this point, he don't have to do anything. Like, it's literally because he wants to. I mean, that's it. It's no other reason. You know, there's no motivation. And so you just got to be able to get it to him. So I got it to him. And Teddy, his stylist at that time was from New Orleans and happened to be a fan. And she was like, I'm going to get it to him. And got it to him. And I was in Europe or somewhere. And he cut it at Wonderland and sent it to me. And it was just like, yeah.
I mean, his vocals back and you say, like, what's the feeling,
I thought
bro?
I was going to cry. I was prepared to cry.
Because it's a signature harmonica like
no,
Stevie Wonder.
know, are you, what?
It's signature. You're like, that's Stevie, dog.
Period.
Yeah.
Like, there's no other thing. And I thought I was going to cry, but I just was like, I was in so much shock that I didn't even cry. I was just like, that's Stevie. I just listened to it 5 million times. You know,
you had to.
Yeah, but nah, it was crazy. And now, we're like tight. You know, like tight for real.
So when did you get a chance to meet Steve? Only reason we're bringing up Stevie Wonder on the podcast is because I know that's
Stevie
a part.
Wonder. I'm just saying.
No, that's a part of PJ's DNA. Like,
oh, big time, yeah, big time.
And you guys, have a great relationship now. But like, what was the first moment you got a chance to meet him after you guys did this record? Like, you didn't do it together, but
we didn't do it together. Yeah, the first we were on a plane. I didn't know he was on the plane, and I was sitting, and I went to the bathroom. This is no lie. Yeah, this is the first time I talked to him after he did it. He's going to the bath. I'm going to the bathroom. His line. Stevie Wonder walks up behind me, and I'm like Stevie, it's PJ. I'm like, you just did my song. He was like, oh man, you can sing, man. You know. And then he was like, no, that's a good record. That's a good record. How's it doing? And then we just started.
Chopping it up on the plane.
Chopping it up right in front of the bathroom on the plane. Yeah. That's the first time we talked about it. And then it was just moments of me like needing him here, him asking me to perform at Toys for Tots, and like us really connecting more. And then I think the more he felt me, he knew it was like, all right, this kid not just trying to be me or nothing. Like he this really this him for real.
Yeah. But was that always one of your favorite artists?
Always.
Always.
I mean, and when I say favorite, yes, but also like influential. Like when my friend when I heard I'll Never Dream She Leaving Some, because I'm an 80s baby, so
that's the part I want to dig into.
Yeah.
Thank you for going there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm an 80s baby, so like I just called to say I love you, and like those huge songs I knew, right? Because they were on the radio at that time. But I had never heard his voice on like, I never dreamed you leaving somebody. I never even heard that Stevie at all.
The 70s.
And my friend was like, yo, this is, and I was like, what? Like it
blew your mind.
Oh my God. I was like, what? And so
you start digging.
And so my dad taking out the trash would give me a small allowance every week. I would go to this Circuit City, rip to Circuit City. They don't even exist anymore. But I would go get CDs, and I started in chronological order. So I started with the earliest Stevie I could find, and literally every week I would go in chronological. I'm about to relearn. I'm about to go in order and learn you that way. And I wasn't a songwriter yet. I wasn't writing any songs. This was probably 12, and so when I started to write and sing, a lot of it felt Stevie. I mean, at first it sounded like a copy. Like I was just trying to be him. I heard D'Angelo or somebody say like, from imitation comes innovation. So initially I was just trying to be, because I'm like, I play keys, I write songs, I sing. Well, who else am I going to look to?
One of the greatest songwriters
the
of all
best
time.
to do it and sit at a piano. So, but yeah, eventually it became, my church came in it too. And I'm a hip hop kid, so that came in. So then it started to develop the Gumbo into PJ.
Yeah,
but
no pun
but
intended.
yeah, Stevie, no pun. But like Stevie really was that. I mean, he's the reason, he's the reason for me.
So the sweet spot for you for Stevie, and I'm only saying this because I can feel certain songs when I hear certain projects. I'm like, that's from the Jungle Fever, or that's some. Characters are like, it's certain things you take, and I think, or you may be like, I was like, this sounds familiar, or this. So it's like the sweet spot is maybe 80s Stevie Wonder for you?
No, not really.
Not really?
70s, yeah. Music of My Mind, that era, like Music of My Mind, Think of Me as Your Soldier, Inner Visions, Fulfilling His First Finale.
Yeah.
That's my era. Like you might hear. That's what I'm saying. There was so many other influences. The Beatles were in there. James Taylor was in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
D'Angelo came and he was in there. So it's like you hear, and then El DeBarge. So some of that 80s stuff, DeBarge is in there. So you might hear Stevie with, I listen to so much music. Like I was open to it all. Yeah. So the 80s Stevie, I mean, I did love Part-Time Lover and stuff. But again, that was my childhood more than that was. That wasn't the musician that went back and started going. But Stevie was just a part of, Stevie, Prince, MJ was Whitney.
How many records have you and Stevie done?
that the public knows. I did that one with him, and then we just worked on one for his new record.
Nice.
A duet, man. I mean, that's
crazy.
I don't even know how to really state it. You know, it's like I didn't ask for any more than this. Like in my life, like this was the pinnacle. I wanted to just play for people. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even want to be an artist. So the fact that the artist who made me an artist, I'm doing songs with him is really
and Q and I had these moments where we were like, there's certain artists that we grew up on, like Tribe Called Quest, De La, like they know us, and I'm like, this is I don't take that for granted. Like, damn, they really. I'm like, I bought your music or whatever.
You working with,
I don't let it get regular for me. I'm like, I still when I see it pop up on my phone or something, Stevie, I'm like, I show my wife like, yo, Stevie. Everybody relax. Everybody relax.
Questlove has told us that Stevie Wonder has FaceTimed him.
Oh yeah,
and we told that because Warren told that story to us.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, he
FaceTimed you.
Yeah, I that might be his
thing.
Communication. I mean, that might be the choice. Like that might be the main thing.
Got it.
Yeah. Don't make no difference.
No, it's just Stevie Wonder. I'm just saying, like when we first heard it, was like, hold on, Stevie Wonder is FaceTiming.
Yeah.
But you as an artist, has he gave you some nuggets or some gems? I'm like, you were like, oh, okay, I see why you did. Like, I'm sure you have some conversations without fanning out on them on some like.
Yeah, we're just getting there. Fuzzy. I mean, if I can be totally transparent, I just talked to him and I was like, because sometimes I'll send him a voice note.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I don't need to call you. Like, I'm just telling you what's up. Yep. And he'll call me after the voice note, and then we'll talk for an hour. Wow. And I'm like, Steve, I don't be trying to. I just don't be trying to bother you. And he's like, man, we friends. I have to wrap my head around.
Like, you're my friend.
He said we're friends. Like you can, you know what I mean? So I'm just getting to the point where
it feels comfortable.
I'm not even. Yeah, I'm not trying to rush off the phone to get out the way. Where I want to start asking.
Yeah, you have to.
I mean, honestly, we were talking when this block of the vote, the Voting Rights Act, and he was like, man, like, no pressure, PJ. He was like, and people told me I wasn't gonna have a career years ago. He was like, but I saw some things as a kid that made me have to fight every time I see like injustice. And he was like, I'm not telling you to do this, but he was kind of like saying, yo, just pay attention, like, because what's happening now is what happened when I was a kid. Like they pulling the rug, but now it's in front of everybody, and they don't even. But like just him giving me, and he was like, he was trying to not force me, and I'm like, I need to hear that from you, Steve. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like I need to hear that stuff. So I'm just getting to that point where I'm comfortable enough to like not have to be like careful and just I want to ask you this, And it blows my mind. But because of that, I'm so careful and precious with it. You don't want to,
and I get it. It's like it's Stevie Wonder, and you don't want to, you don't want to wear out the welcome.
Yeah, exactly.
So you want to feel exactly. In development. So,
but when he said it this last time, I really heard him though. Like
I hear you.
Yeah. Like, all right, okay, I'm a chill. Yeah.
Gotcha. How do you get to Maroon 5? Like, I mean, dude, like everything you said so far sounds like a script out of a movie, right? It's like you did this, you did the 3.5 years of college, album, all right, learn, me and Mac Main, I get the, education, leave, it wasn't no bad blood, Stevie Wonder, part of Maroon 5, like, dude.
So the Maroon thing happened, 2010, I just had released an album called Walk Alone, and I was on tour. And I got a call from Adam Blackstone, my friend, my longtime friend, music director Adam Blackstone, Philly.
You already know. He's a friend of the show.
I say it for you. But Black hit me, and he was like, bro, Maroon 5 is looking for a keyboard player / singer, And I was like, I was in the middle of a tour. I had like 3 days left. I was like, for real? I was a fan of Maroon from like This Love and stuff like that, And I was like, okay. And Adam didn't really call me for stuff because he like knew I didn't want to be a gigging musician. I was an artist, so don't call me to go play for said artist. But he knew that this was a little different, that you a band member. Like it's different.
You're a part of the group.
And I kind of knew that too. So he was like, you want to do it? I was like, yeah. And also I should say, like, by that time on my tour, I was playing the same venues. Like, I felt like I was at a plateau.
Got it.
I was just burnt out, you know, and I was like, I do need a change. So I postponed my last 3 dates of that tour, came to LA, and they told me to learn Sunday Morning, which is a very simple song, you know. But also, they've been a band since 8th grade, right? So they never auditioned anybody either.
And that chemistry was nutty.
Yeah, so it's like, so I went in there like, all right, this is not really an audition. Let me just be myself. So I played that. We jammed out, and you could just tell it was a vibe. And they was like, what else you know? And I knew stuff, so I'm like, let's play this. And so we went like 30 minutes, longer than we were supposed to, because people were waiting to audition. And so they told me later that, you know, they knew. Second day of auditions got canceled, and here we are like 12 years later.
Did you see some people in the audition like, I'll see you?
Nah, I knew. You know, Gerald hadn't though. Gerald was like, man, I ain't even get to audition. You know, like, because Gerald was gonna be over there too. But yeah, nah, I don't know anybody else that was supposed to audition. I didn't see anybody either. I was first. I got at it.
And you singing is a plus also, correct?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I think when you talk about, and I've had to do this search myself, like get a singer/keyboard player. It's a very hard search.
Yes.
But people that do both well. It's also different from singer-songwriter, because you got people who could play their songs on piano and sing, but when you talking about, I'm playing synths and bass, strings, all these, like that's a keyboard player by itself, and then a singer that's two different things, you know. So I knew it was rare anyway, but yeah, man, rest is history. 12 years later, I mean,
still
there.
So that means you're you're not only touring with them, but you're a part of the album process? Or?
Yeah, I don't write. I've kept that separate. I haven't written or produced. I wrote one song. We had to do a song for Pepsi, and I co-wrote that song. But
what if they lean on you? Like,
I think what it is more than anything. I watched this Beatles documentary, like how Billy Preston brought in. Yes, he brought in something else though. That was not writing.
That's where I'm going with this.
I did feel like that. And I think the guys would agree too. It was just like I brought in a different spirit, a different vibe that I think renewed their love for it. You know what I'm saying? And got back to it. And I joined right before The Voice and Moves Like Jagger. And I call it pre Moves Like Jagger, post Moves Like Jagger, because it went. Yeah, bananas. I mean, it was big already, but it went crazy after.
I didn't realize how big of a deal he is.
Oh yeah, I remember, dog. Yeah. I was at the Grammy party, the Clive Davis Grammy party, when they were introduced.
Oh yeah, Maroon 5. Yeah, that's where they got introduced.
Yeah, I was like, oh,
best new artist. Yeah,
White Boys is dope.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How do you balance not getting swallowed up by Maroon 5 and like, all right, I got to keep my PJ thing going?
Yeah.
Because, you know what I mean? It's not, you're not one thing.
Yeah, it took me a minute. And I think it helped that, and it's become the kind of my rhythm of life, my lucky rhythm of life. Like the fact that I get to bounce from Maroon 5 to my career, you know what I'm saying? But like, I didn't know what I was going to do at first, because especially I joined right after a new album, so we were touring for months, and
got it.
All my band was looking at me like, are we going to tour? You know, matter of fact, this is a crazy story. One of my first tours with Maroon 5, Bruno Mars was opening.
Wow.
And Just the Way You Are was it was going fast. Like you could feel it. And he got SNL. This was like 3 shows in. And he had to get off the tour because he was out of here. Never heard from him again. You know what I'm saying? Basically. But this is how you know it was early, and this memory just came in my head the other day. But Bruno texted me, like, it was always love. Bruno is amazing as a person, but he was showing love to me as a songwriter on that tour.
Yeah.
But he texted me like, hey, man, what in-ears you use? Like, this is how early it was. He's such a pro. I look at it now like he's a huge star. But that was the beginning. And this is speaking to what I meant about balancing, because I didn't know what I was going to do. My band started asking me. So Bruno was like, do you have any horn players, like young guys who could move? And I was like, well, I'm not touring now. You could have my guys, you know. And they've been with him 12 years.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm like, dang, he never unhanded them. But yeah, shout out to Dwayne and James. But They hooligans, and they play with Silk Sonic as well. But I've been with Maroon 12 years. They've been with Bruno 12 years.
Oh, man.
But that was me not knowing. I'm like, I don't see myself touring anytime soon. But then I started to figure it out. And that's when I did the Young Money deal right after that. And we balanced. I mean, I opened up. I did double duty. I opened up as PJ Morton. Kelly Clarkson was in between us. I closed as Maroon 5.
Really?
They let me do that in Europe. I opened up for Maroon as me. Robin Thicke, and then I closed. So they've always been very.
They didn't have to do that. That's
right. Nobody else is opening. No other soul R&B artist is opening up for Maroon 5 on a Toyota tour. You know what I'm saying? So that just speaks to those guys' characters.
Sheesh. And you have a new audience for PJ Morton as a solo artist.
Yeah.
To tap
this
into
is what I had to learn. This was a big lesson for me because I don't think pander is the right word, but I used to think about them. I used to think about Maroon 5's audience, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so I had a song with Adam on that first album, that Young Money album. We had a song called Heavy. And it wasn't until I left LA because it didn't work. It didn't make their fans become my fans.
No.
So that was a big lesson for me. Like, people want you to be yourself. If they want to be fans of yours, they will be, but not because you make something more pop or you know what I mean? Huge lesson for me. So it wasn't until I left LA, went back to New Orleans and said, I'm going to just, then I start seeing the Maroon 5 fans show up.
Right.
When I started doing my fully soulful R&B, blackety black PJ.
And what's the name of that album?
That was Gumbo.
That was Gumbo.
And that really,
independent.
Independent, right? Yeah, independent. That changed everything. And that was supposed to be my last album. I said, I got Maroon 5. I write songs. I'm going to just, the artist thing I've been trying for 12 years, I'm done. And so Gumbo was my last thing, yeah. But another lesson. Yeah. When you aren't thinking of metrics, I'm like, I don't care, because I didn't need it to. I don't care if this is a number one hit. I don't care what radio does.
You just did a
this is what I want to make. And it caught crazy fire.
Did you get a Grammy for the Gumbo?
I got nominated for 2. And what I did was, I was against Bruno Mars to bring Bruno back.
Yep,
and
funny.
what I started to realize, that brought attention because Bruno Mars is in the category with me for best R&B album.
Yeah.
So people are like, who is that?
This?
Yeah. So I decided 2 weeks before, I'm going to do a live, because I saw what we were doing on the road.
Crazy.
It was going bananas on the road. I said, I got to show people this. And I don't want this album to die, at least because of the Grammy nomination, my marketing side. Let me do one more thing, and I can get another tour out of this. So let me do a live album. So I said, the Grammys were in New York that weekend. Wow. I said, I'm going to do a live album, Grammy weekend, the Friday, blah, blah, blah. People couldn't even get in. Fire Marshal wouldn't let us. So
where did you guys record that album?
We were in, it's called, they changed the name twice. It's where they did Freak Out. That's where they did all of that stuff. But it was bought by Berkeley College. Can't think of the name it was changed to.
That's what my dad sent me. He sent me that one.
Okay, so the orchestra,
fire.
Orchestra. We playing this 2 weeks before the Grammys. I'm surprised we even got the studio. I had the vision in my mind though. Yeba, who is now doing amazing. I hit her 2 weeks before, because I saw her singing "How Deep Is Your Love" from my album on Instagram, the Bee Gees song. I was like, "You want to do this?" She was like, "Yeah." Got everybody there. Lecrae. We did that. That was Grammy weekend. It was nuts. So that album got me 3 Grammy nominations the next year, and then I finally won one. Yeah,
for the live.
For that, yeah.
And the live album is a bar because it's a different, same vibe but different vibe. If that makes sense.
It was different. Well, what happens is, what happens is you self-edit. So I don't really know the songs when I'm writing them and recording them. So after I tour for a year, they become something different to me. And my expression of them is different. So when I do the live album, it's like, I'm talking about the same thing, but I got a whole different relationship with these songs. And I know what makes this tick now because I do it every night. And I know when the audience screams here. And I know so it was just different. And that, then I did an album that next year called Paul. And actually became the first artist to be nominated for Best R&B Album 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
And I've won 3 years in a row now too.
As you
3
should.
years consecutively. But I always point back to the 10 that I lost before we started winning. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like that was the lesson. My wife Courtney could get hood. She used to just be pissed at the girl because when you lose, it goes so fast. It's the fastest thing ever. Like when you lose, it's just like your category, boop, boop, boop. Even if it's 3, you feel like that's a lot, but they be like, winner, and it's over. But so I used to plan like, are we gonna do a party after you lose? It's like, I ain't playing nothing. When we finally won, I'm like, let's go. I just want to sit in let's go get something to eat and chill. I'm just happy we finally got here. So yeah, man, I've been blessed, bro.
Man, what a journey, dog.
Yeah, why did you name that album Paul?
Named it Paul? Well, after Gumbo, and then Gumbo Unplugged, I felt like Paul is my government name that nobody calls me, right? My wife calls me Paul. That's about it. My drummer calls me Paul.
When she's pissed at you?
No, she just called me Paul. Yeah, she just called me Paul. My mom calls me PJ. My dad calls me PJ. So I just felt like I wanted to be vulnerable on that album, and I felt like government is as vulnerable. Oh. Like when people be like, "Oh, yo, don't say my government."
Yeah, he does that.
My government name. Like what
come
you
on,
doing?
William.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's personal actually. So I just felt like it was a cool title for it.
Got it.
Nice.
I'm late to that, so I didn't even think PJ Paul. Like,
yeah.
Man, what's next, bro? Like, it's so much.
Man, I'm actively working on music right now. We were talking off mic, but like my single right now, Please Don't Walk Away, is like the fastest charting song I've had. It's really like it's reacting, and I think it's a love song. Where it's a love potentially lost song, and I think that vulnerability has been missing a little bit, so I think that's what's connecting. Like hearing a man be vulnerable enough to be like, please don't, please don't walk away. Like, soul music, R&B music was built on vulnerability, built on begging. Girl, you know what I mean? Yeah. But now it's almost like the culture is, I'm cool. It's enough. I'm cool. It's enough out here. So like, if you do whatever you want, you belong to the streets now. All of that. But like, somebody got to say, yo,
I need you.
It is a lot out here, but you're you, and I don't want you to walk away.
But so you have those songs. All right, so
yeah, no, for sure.
One of the songs I was surprised you made, but it's a dope record. I don't go through your phone.
I already know what you about to say.
The phone record. I'm like,
yeah, go through your phone.
Yeah, like I hear you. I don't want to
go
through your phone, but you've been through my shit. So why,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
But
I'm saying,
we hit a nerve.
But that's a real song. Like, I never would think a dude would say that. It's almost like it's almost equivalent of the Winans. What's his name? Mario Winans.
Oh yeah, I don't want to know.
I don't want to know.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, well that's the thing. Honesty. Yeah, somebody told me that too. Like, I have a song called Grass Looks Greener. I got a gospel song called Let Go, Let God.
Yep.
Like, part of me always used to go to things that people say all the time, but there wasn't songs that existed. I'm like, so I asked the room that time, would go through your phone. I was like, yo, y'all want to go through y'all girl's phone? Like, I asked the room of men, right? And they was like, I mean, no, not really. You know what I mean? I was like, and then it was some dissension. I was like, oh, we got something. Yeah. And that song we never went to radio with. But come to my show.
It was that one's gonna go.
Come to my show and hear the audience. I went to Korea and they were screaming that intro to me.
Because it's one part of the song. Everybody,
I'ma look away. Yeah.
And I seen it perform. You did it live at Essence. And what's the background singers you use? The girls.
The Moors.
How they doing? What's going on with them?
They're doing great. They are working with somebody else. They're no longer with Morton, so they've been doing their own thing. But super talented girls.
Super dope.
Yeah, and they were with me for a dope era too, like of all of that unplug and stuff. But yeah, they're doing their own thing. So much love to them. Yeah.
Talk to the artists out there that may be thinking about radio, right, and basing their success off of Grammys and radio. And you're very successful, but it's not like you have songs. You do have songs, but it's not like you're basing your career off of radio success.
Yeah, I think the paradigm it has shifted. Like I said, I've kind of been in it long enough for indie to be cool now.
Yes.
And what I equated to, I think, is cable television versus when we had CBS, ABC, NBC, even before Fox was popping, right? You just had three
majors.
Yeah. And but now you have ESPN, which millions of people watch. I'm talking about they got 1 million people watching who will never watch the Food Network, right? Mm-hmm. But the Food Network got millions of people too. So if you can get out of I want everybody, or at least I want everybody at once, because what can happen is you're ESPN and you break a big story and then your million start telling 1 million friends and then you become that, right? Yeah. But like it comes because you're focusing on your channel. And I think if we just break that thought process, because even now, like some of the things that I care about still are nostalgic, like me wanting to play certain TV shows, certain night shows. I could get more views on my YouTube than who is going to watch me perform on this night show. But I grew up in that to feel like, era. Yo, if you play this, though. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it does still matter to certain people. But does it matter, though, like in the grand scheme of things? No. No, man. You can build a following that gets as many listeners as this radio station, as many viewers as this TV show. So I think it really is, if you can, change the paradigm shift and say, yo, I'm happy being ESPN. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm good. I'm good being ESPN.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like, because you covered the Bee Gees record, right? Mm-hmm. Which is a great song. It's a song.
Yeah.
Great songwriting by itself, right? Have you ever thought about doing, and I always say this, album of covers, meaning like I used to love what Luther and Marcus Miller would do with covers, where they would take it and you would like, you forgot that was a Brenda Russell record.
Or it's theirs.
It was there.
I Will Always Love You. Yeah.
100%. Do you feel like you should you would do something
I didn't before. I was so much a songwriter that I always was like, I want to write my songs. And
I just like the way you do it, arrangements.
Oh no.
Okay.
I'm with you. I tend to agree with you. What kind of changed me was, or I always wanted to do covers, on an album, because my heroes did.
Yeah.
D'Angelo did Feels Like Making Love. Stevie did We Could Work It Out. Beatles.
Yep.
A bunch of them. They always did one, right? Mm-hmm. And I always tried to find one, but they never would fit on the album. So I'm like, all right. Yeah. And it wasn't until this album where I was like, I want to find, and I looked at the top 20 songs of all time.
Of all time.
And I said, if it worked before, it could work again. Let me see if I got any of these joints that I like. And I saw How Deep Is Your Love. I was like, that's a soul song anyway. That's how I hear it. Yeah. When it plays, I hear it how you hear me.
And,
you know what I'm saying?
And black people understand what that record is.
100%. And that is, not for nothing, like has become my version. Like when I watch these American Idols and when they're auditioning now, they're auditioning with my version. You can tell the different note choices. You know what I'm saying? Nice. Which is just but it goes back to the songwriter to me. As a songwriter, I tell people, I only built on what was amazing already. You know what I'm saying? But like, yes, to answer your question, I think about it now, but I like to do things that aren't considered in my wheelhouse so I can bring something fresh. Like when people ask me to cover Stevie songs, I'm like, it's just gonna sound like a Diet Stevie or something. You know what I'm saying? Because I sing like Stevie, but I'm not Stevie. So So it is the Bee Gees, or I just covered the Beach Boys on TikTok the other day. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I bring my soul to it. So yeah, I do. I'm way more open to that now. But up until How Deep Is Your Love, I had never covered a song.
Yeah, but I thought you did a dynamite job, man.
Thank you, man.
I want to see you do something to No Limit Soldier.
Okay.
By Master P.
All right.
You probably would do
it. You can flip it. Flip that record and make it into a soul record. Even if it's just something you throw out there. That record is hard.
Yeah.
Oh, he would flip it.
From a New Orleans
standpoint. We could flip anything now. Like you give me.
Please.
All right.
And just shout out FAQ Podcast. That's all I need.
Who's your next person that you would love to get next to? Like, let's do a song together. Duo. Like, you got Stevie. You got like.
Yeah, I feel like mine are impossible. Well, I feel like Stevie was impossible, right?
Oh yeah, you got Stevie.
If I could ever, I want D'Angelo. Oh, like, see, I want the Hermits. Like, D'Angelo don't come out. D'Angelo and 3000 for me are like, that's my.
I think that's a.
Yeah.
I think you can make that happen. And 3000.
You know what?
Tell me how many features D'Angelo has done.
You can get it though.
because the Rhapsody one was like when you hear Rhapsody explain it, it was like the flukiest, amazing story that came together for him to be on that record, which I was like, oh my God, like. But D'Angelo is my listen. I will fight for it. You know.
Do you ever watch on YouTube D'Angelo and Questlove doing the SOS band cover?
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
That's when I had new respect for D'Angelo. I'm like,
bro,
he hit the falsetto and was playing playing the bass. I'm like, oh my God.
Genius, man. Genius.
Yeah,
and,
I don't think D'Angelo get his props enough.
I never even met D. Of course, so many people around him, but that would be a dream. And and Andre 3000. I would love to. And Kendrick, I mean, like, you know.
K-Dot, yeah.
You know, I like the people who don't be coming outside. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
So like you said, it's hard to get to.
It'd be hard, So it's like, it's cool. It's cool, but that's the people I want because I like that rare air, you know, or the underdogs. Like, I look for the people who people forgot about or not really checking for, you know what I'm saying? And when I hear, because I like to bring something to the table. I don't like when if it's done,
like
then I
so
don't
obvious.
need.
You need it super obvious.
Yeah, but I feel like JoJo was. JoJo went through so much legal stuff that she couldn't even do what she wanted to do. But like,
and that's how you guys
we caught a real one with our song.
On Paul.
And we got another one coming like real soon.
Really?
Too.
You ever thought about doing a real?
Yeah, we talked about
a Marvin,
little Rick Tina.
Yeah.
No, we talked about it because that's our thing is genuine. Like it's easy to work with. JoJo's so
and she could
laid
sing
back and she could go. Oh yeah, she could go.
Pipes.
Yeah.
I tap into PJ, man.
Thank you for stopping by.
Oh man, my pleasure.
Oh my God, you hit him with the government.
Dang, the
No,
government.
because it was personal. We got personal.
Oh wow.
His wife calls him Paul.
He will never forget that. FAQ
disrespectful,
right
man.
about that.
But he said FAQ podcast.
Wait. You doing this because you don't like when he do it to you?
Yeah, he does it to me all the
Yeah,
time.
come on, William. You gotta listen. It's just a.
I'm gonna say your middle name.
Yeah, it's a no,
not middle name. I wrote a lyric. I wrote a lyric about middle names.
Like,
people don't be wanting you to know your middle name.
You can start googling things. It's like, all right,
I know.
Yeah, like you really in there.
Yeah, but thank you, man. Thank you
my
for stopping
pleasure,
by,
man. My
We have,
pleasure.
He's a good dude, man.
No, he's amazing. I'm telling you, my man Jermaine Dolly's been telling me about you for a minute, and he just had nothing but positive things to say about you, and it's just a pleasure to meet you. And thank you for supporting us. I know.
Man, our conversations be. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, y'all make this look easy. You know, I know podcasting is pretty popular. You know, but like it's an art. You know what I'm saying? So I recognize y'all's art.
You did something for Dave Chappelle too. And,
me and Glasswood just did the end credit song for Dave's documentary. Ricky always hooking me up.
Yeah, he said Glasswood. Family. You know what I'm saying?
Rob, my guy. Black Radio is coming out in a few weeks. I'm on there. Me and NDRE we got a duet together on Rob's new album coming out too.
Nice.
Yeah, he released a couple of songs already. But
yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, thank you, brother. Like this is just one of many conversations we'll have with you, man. And thanks for stopping by, bro.
Yes, sir. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We got William and Quincy here with Paul. FAQ podcast. Frequently asked questions. With Fuzzy and Quincy. Yo, don't forget, subscribe to us right now, FAQ Podcast Audio, FAQ Podcast on YouTube.
Check that YouTube out.
Check us out.
Listen, tell them how we shoot our this is in like 1080 4K Sony something, Leica something.
Shout out to Drew from St. Louis, man. He's a film lord. He's holding us down. We appreciate him.
He's on a Black Magic. I want to say everything I've been learning in the last couple of days of Sony this.
I ain't walk into no one camera situation.
No. We got multiple cameras.
We multi in here.
We made sure of that, brother. Well, look, FAQ Podcast. We'll see y'all next time.